In 2009, I was diagnosed with papillary carcinoma, thyroid cancer. And it took me a very long time to get that diagnosis. So it took me over 8 years of telling doctors all of my symptoms, and they would look at me, and because of my age, they said, oh, it's just menopause. Finally, after going through about 3 doctors, I found a woman that was middle-aged that understood about menopause. And I walked into her office and she came in and said, hi, Becky, how can I help you? And I started to cry. And I said, you can believe me. I feel like I'm dying. They did the fine needle biopsy, and that was the beginning of my journey. I knew nothing about thyroid cancer, which is part of the reason that I believe I was so fearful. I didn't know where my thyroid was located. I didn't know what it was responsible for. So I had more questions than answers, but that was when I was told that I had thyroid cancer. I went on a research journey that I never imagined, and I had to learn pretty quickly.
But the problem was that she was reading everything out there that had anything that had the word thyroid in it, and she was getting as much misinformation as she was accurate information. And so how do you sift through that and know what's real and what's not? And that increased the worry, really.
Everybody has a horror story to tell you. So I would find a lot of those things online, and they really increased my level of fear. And especially people that would talk about their outcomes and, all of the possible ramifications of treatment. You tend not to hear from people once they have gone through the process and it's in their rearview mirror, they're getting on with their lives.
It has also had a profound effect on what we put on our dinner plate. Through our investigation and studies and learning, became the question about what should we be putting in our bodies that might be contributing to illness. How can we avoid that? So it transformed our eating experience and our dietary preferences in a good way.
We've become kind of zealots about that. We already were kind of on that journey where we were questioning how to avoid illness. And since that time, we gave up a lot of the things that actually we gave up during my low-iodine diet. So we gave up dairy, and we gave up things that we felt were not going to give us the best chance of avoiding this experience again.
Right. Yeah.
So we're the weird ones in the room that people will invite us to dinner, and it's like, what can you eat? You're plant-based? Oh no, what can I cook for you? The hard thing for me was that you have to eliminate regular table salt. And my particular palate was a salty palate. And so whereas many people might complain that on the low iodine diet, they can't have dairy, they can't have fish, my thing was, how do I get rid of the salt in my diet? And I had to come up with some things that I could cook that would be tasty for him and for me, but would really help my treatment be as successful as possible.
For me, it was about us getting through this, not just Becky getting through this. So we became real partners in the whole dietary approach, and that has really continued past treatment.
It's really a chickpea salad. You can call it a garbanzo salad, but I found myself really wanting to have a sandwich or something I could put on a low iodine cracker. And this is very versatile because you can make it into a sandwich, you can make it into a wrap, you can put it on a salad. So it had a lot of versatility. When you're on a low iodine diet, I couldn't have mayo. And so you have to have something to mix it together and soften it up a bit. So I found that by mashing avocados and then mixing them with the chickpea mixture, that it worked quite well and tasted good. It is important on the low iodine diet not to use regular iodized salt, but there are many kinds of non-iodized salt that you can get at the store or online. And so that you want to have that, because otherwise it's a bit bland. So you have to be able to season it up a little bit like you would a tuna salad. So we have some chickpeas. You can buy them canned, but you have to get the no salt added. And then you rinse them really well. When I was on the low iodine diet, I preferred to make my own from dry. So I put them in my Instant Pot or in a boiling pot of water on the stove, and I cooked them to make sure there was nothing else added. So you're adding your garbanzos to a bowl. Got to have a masher. And so you just kind of mash them up. And actually, the handheld blender will work too. And then you add your other ingredients. So you want to add some celery for crunch, a little bit of onion to give it some flavor. Definitely peppers if you like peppers. If you don't, you can leave them out. So we've got some red and green peppers in there. A little bit of parsley. And if there are other herbs that you like, you can just add whatever tastes good to you. Sometimes I even like to add a little bit of fresh mint from the garden. And it's amazing how that can taste. Then you want to take your avocado and then you would add it to the bowl of chickpeas. And of course, you do need some of the non-iodized salt. That's very important. And you just mix it all together until you get the consistency of like a tuna salad or a potato salad. In this case, we've got some greens to put it on. So you would just kind of plate it up like this, the same as you would be eating a tuna salad on some greens. During the holidays, it was the hardest time because we were used to having the entire family at our house, which we did. And to get through it, I basically made two things. I made the meal for everyone else, and then I made some things, I added some things to that meal that I knew I could eat without breaking the diet. But I made sure that I did make myself things that I could enjoy and didn't really make a big deal out of it because it was really more about the family spending time together. And that really gave me what I needed at that time going through cancer treatment. And the family was so much more important than the food I wasn't getting to eat.
We invited our guests to try the things that were on the low iodine diet, and surprisingly, this is pretty good. So it worked out very well.
It did.